So Transformers started in 1984. We're going to talk about the individual series, the major entries, and we'll talk a little bit about the toy lines as we have a chance. First up, of course, was G1. Yay! A lot of Transformers. Okay, it was initially created by Hasbro. The story outline was done by Denny O'Neil, who did a complete story treatment that was then thrown in the trash. The only things that survived was the name Cybertron and Optimus Prime.
Do you know anything about that original treatment aside from that?
A little bit. Bob Budinsky, who worked for Marvel, then came in and fleshed out the full story we know, which was also adapted for the cartoon and the comic. The comic ran far longer than the cartoon. Original stories used the Japanese series, Diclone Microman, a few others as a base, and then they started making more original toys as it took off. 3 seasons, arguably 4, and a movie. The rebirth doesn't count.
Headmasters, number 5.
Well, that's a different slide.
We'll get to that.
I'm not proud of it, but...
There were 3 seasons of the original series. The final episode had a phenomenal ending. Optimus Prime comes back from the dead. He doesn't save the day. He doesn't save the world. He doesn't save the galaxy. He saves the mother-flipping universe. Galvatron walks up, tells the Decepticons to stand back, says, "There will be no war today." And the Autobots transform and roll off into the sunset. And then they decide to do 3 more episodes to set up the next toy line, which totally ruined the flow. You know?
Yep.
Dang it.
I like the rebirth.
It was fine if it hadn't come right after that amazing ending. Season 3 finale was awesome.
Complete with You've Got the Touch.
And it had You Got the Touch. So we got to hear hell on a PG, or on a 80s Saturday morning children's show.
Yes, we did.
The original comic ran for 80 issues before going on a 19-year hiatus, and is now back on the shelves for an additional 19 issues.
Up to 86 right now.
Yep, up to 86. A couple last year, the writer who was doing it when they ended said, yeah, I had some ideas, but you know, the series got canceled. And the current license holders went, "Hey fans, what would you think about him wrapping it up?" And they got enough unified support. They're like, "Okay, we'll give you 20 issues left, take it to 100. So, went on hiatus for 19 years and it's back on the shelves. The UK was split up into much, much more issues. And there's no way to count how many toys there were. And any of those people out there who have all the G1 toys, you got a problem, sir. That's from the guy with the problem. Okay, favorite toys. I like to mix this up every year. So this year I'm going with G1 Grimlock.
I love Shockwave. He lights up. Shockwave is an awesome character, and he's purple.
Yes.
Like Shockwave.
It's played by Corey Burton, and if anyone's reading the current comic series that I was saying was so awesome, woohoo, man, Shockwave's cool. Okay, Japanese G1. Oh yeah, we got clips. I forgot. We got so much extra time. We actually have time for the clips this time.
So, clip from the movie.
Clip from G1.
What's the context of this?
This is the original G1 movie. The Decepticons are attacking full force on Autobot HQ on Earth. They're determined this time they're going to end the war. And go!
Decepticons, merge for the kill!
Oh, Hot Rod, look!
Your blood runs cold.
Devastated. Better things to do tonight than die.
You really did.
That's the best one-liner ever.
That shot in the camera goes past the camera.
Yeah. This movie actually was filmed in HD if you ever get a
Their defense forces are broken! Let the slaughter begin! Dinobots, destroy Devastator! Me bring the blood challenge!
And that is a clip from the only Transformers movie they ever made.
Okay, so after that, Transformers animated series ended in the U.S. Unfortunately, and then it went forward in Japan. In Japan, they did not count those last 3 episodes, the quote-unquote season 4, though they did use the same gimmick, which was Headmasters. That brought us Scorponok, Chrome Dome, Fortress Maximus, who for some reason people think is a good toy.
He's just a big toy.
He's just a big toy, and every time I ask people why they're so obsessed with him, they're like, he's the biggest Transformer ever made. Yeah, but he wasn't that good, but he's huge. I guess that if that's worth $1,200 a year money, okay.
And the sword makes him a lot bigger.
And the sword's huge, yeah.
That's what she's
RC. After Headmasters came Master Force, which gave us Overlord and Kid and Optimus's gut.
And actually surprisingly decent character development and plots for once in a Japanese series.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Japanese written Transformer series.
Only decent ones, so unfortunately.
Overlord is a really cool toy, I'll give him that. And again, if you're not reading the comics, read the comics, because Overlord is an amazing, sadistic, brutal character that you love to hate. Oh, and Metal Hawk was in Master Force, he won a lot.
And I assume you mean the IDW comics, not
Yeah, IDW
the manga?
Not the manga, no. The current on the shelves IDW comics.
Okay.
Victory was the 3rd series, took place, even later. Again, they switched up the Autobots and Decepticons leadership. It has a great way of having an announcer that will explain to you what just happened 10 seconds ago. Ultra Magnus will say, "Let's go save the day!" Ultra Magnus has decided he will go save the day. And I'm like, didn't we just watch this literally 5 seconds ago?
And they have a group of Transformers called the Breast Force.
What?
Watch it. They have little planes and hawks and things that just pop out of their chest like Soundwave. They call them the Breast Force.
We broke a brain.
No. I have issues with femmes in general.
And now you see why I say, Japanese written Transformers. I have no issue with
And these
female
are all
Transformers,
male
though,
characters too.
And then we had Zone, which maybe did or did not happen. It's so hard to get a copy of. You get all the Decepticon combiners and Overlord and capes. There we go.
And half of them get killed.
And have them get killed. And there was a concept art for a really cool Megatron that never got a toy. Okay, moving on. Oh, right, favorite toys is there's Overlord. He's about yay big. If you can't, figure out how big he is from that. And Steven has
Jinrai God Bomber is basically the Optimus Prime G1 toy on utter crack with armor. It's actually pretty cool though.
God Bomber.
Overlord's great, but he's missing the same thing every original toy had, and that was elbows.
Yeah. They didn't.
I'm not one of those guys who's just like, man, it needs 50 points of articulation. I'm just like, just give me elbows.
Get right doesn't have it either.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope,
that's
it's not.
the original ones.
What was
That's
it,
like,
the Power Master version without the extra arm?
I know, not everything could be G1 Soundwave, but I just want elbows. That's all. Okay, moving on. G2!
Which is apparently non-canon now.
Well, non-canon, yeah, because they're,
Or alternate universe. I don't even know.
well, it's arguable which. Okay, so G2, Transformers, it kept going in Europe and in Japan, but in the US, it eventually petered out. Toys stopped, comics stopped, the shows was long gone, reruns were done. That was for about 2 years, then G2 started, featuring apparently people who conceived children at the age of 11, since in 1993, 9 years after the show originally launched, this was not your father's Autobot. So, it featured some new toys, featured repaints of old toys in really funky 90s color schemes. We got a solid gold Bumblebee that you can barely take a picture of without seeing the person taking the picture in his reflection. And we got a Decepticon laser rod called Jolt, who was really, really cool. But other than that, it was yellow Devastator and purple and green Megatron, and an Optimus toy that is going to come back later in this panel, but at the time of release, wasn't that good. Come on in. We got a question. No questions.
Also, that gold Bumblebee was my first Transformer. Second, the black Sideswipe was actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that I should say. They re-released G1 Sideswipe. They reversed his colors, so his black became red, his red became black. And they had this neon green in a little places, but not too bad. It was a super sexy repaint, I will give you that. And G2 Sideswipe deserves mad love.
Did Machine Wars come out during G2
Nope.
or at the same
During
time?
Beast Wars.
Okay.
Okay, who doesn't have a ticket? One of these. You don't have one of these in your hand? Okay, you gotta run up here really quick.
Here, I'll get it. I'll do something.
Oh, a woman that does something.
Oh,
Someone should marry her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. My phone just go. Sort of. Okay, everyone get their seats, and I'm gonna pull a ticket.
I will take your phone away.
Then how will Zordon call me? Okay. We have, this is going to be for Cup, because we just saw Cup in the clip. This is for 661-83-4. $834? There we go. Wait, let me see your ticket. This is 836. No, I'm kidding.
Here.
Also G2, one last thing, thank for my bullet points. They started replaying the first 2 seasons in syndication. They had this CGI like cube that would spin around instead of the whole da-da-da-da-da thing. And they had a little boy named Mickey, I think was his name.
Yeah.
That he stood on the hand
No,
of
I
this.
thought it was Tommy.
Tommy, you're right, it's Tommy.
Tommy.
Who stood on this hand, it was just a hand and a head, this giant animatronic Power Master Optimus who would talk to him during like the commercial breaks and the intro for the episodes. It was the 90s, you know? We didn't have Doc Brown introducing today's episode of Back to the Future. Okay,
And
so...
also in the comics, Simon Furman has about as violent views as you
Oh,
can get for Transformers.
yeah, and nobody like apparently could tell him no for 12 issues. He ran unchecked. Him and Andrew Wildman, it was...
I actually like
It was
quite a
something.
bit, but
Oh, Megatron had some really good scenes in that too. There's
Starscream as well.
Starscream 2. There was a really good time though, because there's a third faction in the G2 comic that's trying to wipe everything out, all the Cybertronians, and the Decepticons and the Autobots meet for this peace conference, and the other faction swoops in and blows up the ship that Megatron came in, and everyone scatters and Optimus and Megatron are running through the woods, and as they're running out, it's like, okay, where's the ship? Ship, it just blew up, you didn't see it? Yeah, where's the other ship you brought for when everything went wrong? And Megatron just looks at him and goes, God dang it, I hate that you and I are on opposite sides sometimes.
There we go, favorites.
Favorites? Yep, this year I'm going with Bumblebee, because I went with Jolt last year. It took quite a while to find a picture where you couldn't see the guy holding the camera in his chest.
As tacky as the colors may be, I think Megatron generally works best as a tank, so I like the fact that this was the first time they made him a tank.
And look, elbows.
And elbows. There you go. Yay, technological progression.
And then...
Yes! The only reason to still like Transformers.
Come on, it's Beast Wars!
Woo!
So cheer for your favorites here.
Cheer for your favorites. Okay.
All right, very good.
So, Beast Wars came along in 1996. There we go. Beast Wars came along in 1996. This was a true revival of the franchise. Planes, trains, and automobiles are gone. Now we got animals in disguise.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some tickets in now. It was completely CG. This was done by Mainframe Entertainment in Canada, in Vancouver.
May they rest in peace.
May they rest in peace.
You know.
They were dead before they were dead, though. So there was an experiment in the early 90s that Mainframe was taking part in. This was before Pixar really came to the forelight. They were gifted several supercomputers, graphic supercomputers, which they were to basically do a proof of concept for doing a CG series. That's how we got Reboot and Beast Wars and War Planets.
Yeah.
Though it was awesome, although I don't know if anyone really remembers War Planets. Okay, well, we got 3. So I would honestly say, people tell me that the CGI hasn't aged well on Beast Wars. I would disagree with that. I think it looks better than 95% of what's on TV.
I'm going to say it this way. I think the CGI, like from a technical level, didn't age well, but the composition, the directing,
The textures.
emotions, and the textures have actually all aged very well. The series is just well edited.
I should say, one thing I always look for in CGI is water and fire, which are 2 things Beast Wars did amazingly well. Water and fire looked darn good on that show.
And you know, seasons 2 and 3 still look great in general.
Trees, not so much.
No, they look fine when they weren't on fire, but when they're on fire, then yeah. Like, oh, so that's what. It was 52 episodes across 3 seasons, which I think stands great for a Japanese Transformers series. It's 52 episodes in only 1 season.
Yeah.
Where can I find those episodes that's under $200 for
I thought they just released a box set.
Yeah, they actually do
Yeah,
release a box set on
yeah.
Amazon. You can get a great new box set for like $50.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was bad for a while,
Series were like
but
70.
Rhino, those Rhino sets were out then. Then,
The Rhino sets are the ones that
Yeah,
were
it's on
reselling for
Netflix.
$200.
Yeah,
Those
that's-
are.
those so do I.
I picked them up for $10 a piece. Like, years ago, I picked up the season 2 and 3 on the Rhino ones for $10 each.
It's all a matter of the right timing.
Yep. Yeah, the toys got to be pretty darn good. The posability went up, play value. One toy that came out in the 2nd season was Quick Strike. He had 19 points of posability. Just his one arm, which was like had 8 different joints on it. So he was incredibly show accurate.
Detail levels too.
Yeah, detail was good. There's no comparison when it comes to Transformers series for the acting quality and the writing quality for Beast Wars. It was a perfect balance of drama, comedy. They knew when to tell a joke, they knew when to get drop dead serious, they knew when to advance the overall plot.
Prime's trying, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, Prime.
Peter Cullen is
And
God.
it's very important to remember this final bullet point, Code of Hero.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my heart.
The universe, I gotta tell a little story. The universe wanted me to see Code of Hero on its first broadcast. So it's Saturday morning, you know, I'm up, I'm channel surfing, little kid, and my TV stops on like channel 19. There is no channel 19. There's never been a channel 19. Here's channel 19 coming in crystal freaking clear, and Beast Wars, the opening credits are just starting, and it's Code of Hero. And oh God, just like anyone else who's ever watched that, you know. And as the credits start rolling, it starts getting a little fuzzier, a little fuzzier, a little fuzzier, a little fuzzier, and then it goes straight to solid white stack, and channel 19 never came in again.
Wow, that's cute.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but that happened. So yeah, if you don't know what Code of Hero is, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I encourage you, if you're here in this panel because you like Transformers, find out what Code of Hero is. Because
If you like Transformers in general, just watch Beast Wars.
yeah.
Just do it.
Code of Hero and IDW ongoing issue 22 and 23, those are the 2 like best things Transformers has ever given us. So.
I generally agree, actually.
And unfortunately, the main star of Code of Hero, when they were recording it, he did not realize what was going to go down in that episode until he finished recording it. Oh man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he read the script. He didn't realize that it was going to stick. He thought, you know, cartoon. So, favorite toys. This year, I'm going with Transmetal Megatron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't blame you. I would have chosen that one myself too. But Transmetal Megatron 2, he's a dragon now. That's the detailing on this mold. Look at that. Textures everywhere.
I had a real big problem with the Beast Mode in general because in Season 3, Optimus Primal saves Optimus Prime by taking his spark, of Transformers' essence, into himself while they repair his body. Because if the repairs would take too long, he'd die. And that transforms him into Optimal Optimus. which he's got this super robotic, harkening, especially back then, retro was really something in Transformers, harkening back, robot modes and vehicle modes and all this stuff, and it's cool. And half a season later, Megatron busts in, and he's like, I'm going to do this with the original Megatron. And I'm just like, freaking A, this is going to be awesome. And then he turns into a dragon. I'm like, I expect him to turn into a gun, but it would have been great if he'd have like guns on his shoulder or something, turn into a T-Rex with cannons on his back or something.
I almost chose Optimal Optimus, as he is a phenomenal toy as well, but the dragon looks awesome in both forms. So.
Optimal Optimus's problem is that his guns didn't retract. That killed the toy for me.
By the way, I don't care what anyone says, it does not have a third form vehicle mode, no matter
No,
what.
and that's the other thing. It tries to tell you it has a vehicle mode, it don't.
No.
As much as Energon's Shockwave had a vehicle mode. You remember his satellite mode? Good word. Okay, now we're back to the Japanese stuff.
Yeah, this happened.
Okay, he's gonna. I've seen enough. Okay, you got 2 minutes.
Long story short, they did 2 series in Japan at the same time Beast Wars was coming out, Beast Wars 2 and Neo. In Japan, they say they take place either during the series or 10,000 years later. In the US, the comics have now said that these shows kind of take place before Beast Wars. So I tend to follow that explanation since I think it's actually pretty cool. Beast Wars 2, main story short, you've got these group of Maximals led by Leo Convoy, as his name is known. They find a random planet named Gaia that's secretly happens to be Earth in the distant future or something crazy like that. And they discover this energy called Anglo-Moi. Then they defeat another Galvatron, blah blah blah, and the energy gets put into capsules and sent throughout space. And they all go missing. Then you have Big Convoy, a mammoth leader who takes over, gets a whole new cast, and you have a show called Beast Wars Neo, where they're now trying to find these capsules. They don't know why, they just know there's something important about this energy. Well, it turns out it's actually the essence of Unicron that survived after all these years. By the end of the show, he actually manages to succeed in taking over Cybertron. So, some pretty interesting things happen in these series. Otherwise, they're really crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top filler that has still basically not been subbed yet. But they have some pretty cool toys. They used a lot of Machine Wars toys, so they still have vehicles versus animals a lot in Beast Wars 2. And in Beast Wars Neo, you've got a lot more original molds and some pretty cool looking ones that we'll talk about our favorite toys in just a minute.
They brought back Trypticon.
They did bring back Trypticon, yeah. I mean, these series aren't great, but you know what? Shout Factory really just needs to get it done and get them subbed, because they're still worth seeing. And the comics actually make the characters, the IDW ones, make the characters actually really cool. Well, anyway, that's it in a nutshell.
The first comic, maybe the second one. I'm just like to buy it.
The first comic was enough.
I talked to the guy who worked on the comic, who did the coloring, and I'm like, you were closer to this. Do you know what was going on? He said,
Yeah, the second comic was a mess, but the first one had a great idea.
if you see the guy at the very top of the bottom picture, with the big wings coming off his head, Magmatron, really cool toy. It's kind of like a T-Rex-esque thing, pterodactyl-esque thing, and a magical Leoplerodon. All
3 forms.
Yeah, all 3 different animals all merge into one robot. It's actually pretty solid.
I guess a spark is a tri-spark or something weird like that. That's how they explained it.
And there were a lot of remolds. I like Dirge Gun, super heavy, like Terminator remolded Waspinator. New wings, new legs, new head, new half of his Wasp head.
And just like we were saying, I like Magmatron.
There's Magmatron.
Awesome character, great toy, great concept for the original stuff.
All right, let's do another drawing. Let's take another take. Okay, everyone ready?